was due on late. Hey, this is a blast from the past. You like that, punny? Hey, so I've been doing a lot of commission stuff, and I haven't really had a chance to carve. This is in the studio before the fire, and this is one of the first videos, probably one of the first 20 or 25 that I put out, and it's kind of fun. I thought I'd revisit that. I might revisit a few other ones. I'm occupied on my day job the next 3 weeks, give or take, so I won't be doing a whole lot, and then I've been doing the commission stuff in between, so unfortunately I haven't had a chance to post, but hey, so here's how this started. It's just an exploding box. It's fun. It's kind of a joke box, and I used a big Victor rat trap. You can make these smaller with mouse traps, but this one really blows the box apart pretty fine. And I just thought it'd be a fun project. It was early on in the channel, and didn't get a whole lot of attention, so I thought I'd re-edit that and put it out there because it's kind of fun. So I took a fence board there, well, not a fence board. This is a piece of pine that was sitting outside, and I made the base just a little bit larger than the rat trap, and I took it over the bandsaw. Now, these pieces are the side pieces, and I just ripped some basswood. And what you have to do is build up a ridge base around that so you can set the side pieces in, because nothing is actually glued in, because it's a friction fit and you're going to hold it together. So I cut these strips even, pretty straightforward, real simple. Threw some glue on there and hit them with a nail gun, because they're going to take a little bit of abuse when that trap blows up. So you can see there's the box portion for the bottom. The trap will sit right in the middle there, and then the side pieces are going to be sandwiched in between that framework that you see that I built there, and that will hold the sides in. And if you're real careful, you can make a pretty fancy box if you really wanted to, if you're doing that sort of thing, and make it real pretty. It still does the same thing. This is just a rough, quick one over the world to show you how to do it. But I have seen, in fact, I've actually in the past made a couple that are real pretty. They're finished real nice with a shellac finish and the whole 9 yards. Usually those are little ones with mouse traps, so they don't bite you. So I'm going to put some glue on that bad boy, and then I'm going to take the nail gun and make sure it stays down. And there we go. We're set that part. Now you can see some of these pieces that were not square. I just ripped them real quick out of a rough basswood log. So they need a little bit of cleaning up. So I draw a straight line for reference, and then I'm going to go back and put a 90-degree on those also. It helps when you're making a box and if you make things square. So I'm just measuring. It needs to sit inside that lip, and the bottom lip is going to hold it, and then the top is going to be recessed and hold it in there. And you'll notice I put a number on there. That's number 1, and I wrote it on there. So it's like a puzzle piece after you blow it up, and you want to put it back together. And you can see that one had some rough stuff. Look at the difference in the thickness in that. When I ripped it, I must have ripped it really quick. So that'd be number 2, number 3, and you'll notice that I'm not putting these together just yet. Now, on this one, you can see the bail comes up and it hits the top and blows the thing apart. What you can do is put little blocks halfway down on the end where the bail comes up, and that would be as it's springing, little kick blocks, and it'll really throw these things across the room. I didn't on this because that trap is a little too powerful. But you see how that's going to go in there now. And that's just a friction fit, making it tight, and it gives it the impression of a real box. Now you can see why I numbered them, because these pieces all need to go back where they're supposed to. So to make life easier, I initially, on fitting the top, I need to carve and recess the bottom of the top out. So I'm going to temporarily nail this sides together, the side frame pieces, so that I can get an accurate measurement for the top. So that poof, it sits inside. You can see it looks like a box. Time for a little coffee. Now, back to the basswood. I got a chunk of basswood. I just wanted to make a rough top for that. Here's a piece, smaller piece that I had cut off. So now I need to build the top piece, and the top's going to overhang just a little bit. Looking at that box in the background, probably an inch on either side. So I start doing it with a pencil and decide that a nice blue pen might be a better way to go. So I'm just making a rough outline, leaving room because I'm going to carve out the bottom of this lid. In fact, I'm going to take this over the bandsaw, as you can see, and turn it into a little plank. I'm going to leave the rough on the outside. That sits on there like that. Poof. And upside down. So I took the box, turned it upside down, and marked out where I need to recess out in the center. Just like the base there, we built those pieces up. This part will be carved out. Really the only carving in this, there's a bench stop piece that I threw on the bench there. I treat the benches badly. They're a tool. And I actually carved the top of this out with the hand tools. But since it was round, I needed to slide a piece in underneath to keep it from rocking back and forth. And this is just a straight chisel. And I'll go ahead and set these lines. You've seen me in more recent videos. I'll burn this line, and what it is a stop cut, and it allows me to chisel right up to that. And I will take the whole bottom of this out, probably down between 1/8 and 1/4 inch, all the way around. Poof, and I went zoomed ahead. So I've taken the square out of the bottom. You can see that. I also put a hole in the right-hand corner of it there, which I will fix because that top is curved. So we'll get that fitting on there nice. It fits on there pretty nice. Now it needs a coin slot. I'm looking inside to where the trigger is at, making sure that when I drill and then carve out the coin slot, that it hits the trigger for the rat trap. And that would be that. Now, what I've seen done on these is people will put on here donation box, coffee donation box, whatever, and people will pull out, not paying any attention. They'll pull out a quarter and drop a quarter in there, and then it blows up, and then everybody laughs around them. Again, you can put kick blocks on those side pieces if you're using a mouse trap. A mouse trap is a lot tamer. It doesn't have a possibility of whacking you or hurting you. This rat trap has quite a bit of power. So there's a little bit of quick wood, or that piece I carved through on the bottom. I didn't feel like remaking it, so I just put a little quick wood in there, let that dry. Now, set it. Be careful you don't catch your fingers. And I'm just testing it out. I still have it nailed together. I just want to make sure that the bail on the rat trap or that the trigger is in the right place. And I didn't have a quarter. I never have any money anymore. Everything's all digital nowadays. I'd be surprised to have a quarter in the pocket. But I did have a washer. And poof, it makes a racket. And it did work. So it's time to take this piece apart and design it. I'm not strong enough to pull those apart, so use a little bit of a hammer. And you can see I just temporarily tacked these in to do the building portion of it, and I'm going to take this completely apart because each of these pieces is loose like a puzzle. If you remember at the beginning, I did number each of these as to where they go because they're all a custom fit. And I'll go ahead and pull the brads out. Since they're straight brads, it's a real simple matter of just pulling them through and throwing them off to the side. So I don't know what good this is other than it's a little bit of fun. There's some other stuff I haven't done in the past that showed you. There's snake boxes that where you slide the lid back and the snake comes out and has a thumbtack in it and it hits you in the thumb. People frown on those nowadays. You can't torture your friends and injure the small children like we used to be able to in the old days. So these are all numbered, and the way to put them back in there is match up the numbers. So So it just makes it easier to put them back together after you blow it up. And like I said, it's kind of interesting if you're messing around. This serves no useful purpose other than to torture people, and it's just a fun little project. So the sides are all assembled. You put the lid on there. It looks like a box. Those nails pulled through. And this is probably 2.5, maybe even 3 years ago. I don't know, but you'll see some of those tools did make it through the fire. That knife I've got was playing with the handmade knife on the right there. That did make it through, and various other things. So, matching everything up. Put the top on. You can do any kind of finish you want on this. You can carve whatever you want. And just keep in mind that if you use a rat trap, it's pretty stout, and it might bite you. I mean, certainly not going to damage you or anything. I think if you stuck your finger in there, there's a possibility that it might break your finger. I mean, it might break a little kid's finger, so that's probably not a good idea to mess with them on this one. This one's a little more powerful. But the mouse traps, which are smaller, they allow you to make smaller, cuter boxes. And you can go so far as to miter these corners. I didn't bother to miter them. I just made them square. But you can miter each of these corners. It can really be a good-looking box, and no one would have any idea what's going on. So all great fun. Blast from the past. I will probably do a couple more of these coming up in the next day or two. I will do my monthly carver of the month and that sort of thing. And it's all set up, and ba-boom, there you go. Blast from the past, a little bit punny. I thought for those of you that hadn't seen this, some of you may have seen this. It did get some views, but it's been few and far between. So there you go. In slow motion, it's a lot more fun. When you're all done. And I just thought that was fun. So, hey, thanks a lot. This has been a blast from the past. Bandwidth Studio on the Lake. Please subscribe, click like, and by all means, leave me a comment. Have a good day.